Welcome to Gaming is in Session, Sniper Elite Resistance Edition. And Adam, you normally have the hot jokes. You got the funny laughs for everybody. Adam, I got a good joke for you. Sniper related. You want to hear it?
I have such little and low expectations for you. You can't but exceed my expectations. So bring it on, Alex.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was hanging out with your auntie last week, and we were having a good time, and she said, you know what, Alex, you really have a sniper penis. And I said, is that a good thing? I don't know. Why? Because I always hit the right spot? And she said, no, because I can't see it hiding in the bushes.
Okay. I like how it's self-deprecating. You made fun of yourself. You could have easily switched it and turned it on me, and it could have been about me and your mom said it about me, but instead you chose to make fun of yourself. Not bad. I like it. I can also resonate with that because here's the thing. We where I live, there was a suburb of the city I live in, and it's full of rich people. Nothing but doctors and lawyers, super rich people. And I mean, they have like their own town. It's like the Truman Show, right? And they've got their own barber shops and their own amphitheaters and their own doctors, like in this suburb. Like it's insane. It's not its own town, but it's really weird, actually. Turns out one of the doctors got arrested because she put a hit out on her husband in the town. And I don't know how they do this, but the FBI somehow when she tried to find a hitman, I don't know, I guess maybe it's not a sniper, but I'm relating it. She contacted someone and it was the FBI. How? How is this at Soy House? And then they were like, "Oh my gosh, I forgot how much money she paid." She was in the middle, and I know this because a coworker was there in the middle of a child's appointment. This not SWAT team, but police came in and arrested her right in the middle of the appointment. And the mom was like, "How about my baby?" And the lady's rotting in jail now. Isn't that nuts? Like, what the heck, dude? Life is wild. It
And
really
she's
is.
rotting in jail now.
Oh, I did. She put a hit out on her husband.
No, I get it. I get it. It's
Her
just funny.
child was going to become a half orphan because she was sick of the man because couldn't find his sniper in the bush. I mean, come on, not cool, dude. Oh my. But that's a long-winded, I don't know, story about Sniper Elite. I am dying of thirst, Alex. I am dying to get in the gamer juice. Mine is Liquid Death. It's called Slaughterberry, which I really like the name. And so Liquid Death is just water, right?
Is
But
it carbonated water?
this is carbonated water, and this they've gone iced tea, agave, vitamins. Oh, I thought there was lemonade in here too. Oh, so it's just gonna be tea? That's gonna
It's
wow,
barely
that
going to be
smells
tea.
good. Oh, baby.
How can I ask you how much that? Well, it's like gold coming out. How much was that?
$2.
Really? Last time I saw Liquid Death, it was like $5, and it was just water.
I don't understand why you're like, do you mind if I ask you how much? What you think I'm telling you my salary here live on?
No, I know how cheap you are, though.
Wow, it's terrible. Oh, that's disappointing. Oh, it smelled so good. It's like, wow, that's not
Pour Adam, Adam, if you pour it straight in your nose right now, I'll eat a bean.
how how do I pour it in my nose?
You said it smells good. That's not.
We're not into this content creation. Alex, what are you drinking?
I also have water. I thought it was going to be caffeinated. It's not caffeinated, which is unfortunate. So I do have like a Red Bull here for me. But this is Yesly, enhanced still water beverage. We both have water with a touch of flavor, lemon. I think this is somebody trying to get in on the whole liquid death canned water thing. I forget how much it was. We'll say $2 just so you don't feel bad.
I
I
mean,
don't.
this is just like watered down tea. Like this is just it's not good. It's
Yeah,
not water, it's tea.
I don't think liquid death is like flavorful. This is not gonna. This is gonna be like lemon water.
Yeah, but the thing is when you buy water, you
Oh,
expect it not to have taste. This is called slaughterberry. It's supposed to be different. What's your moan mean?
This is pretty good. This
Uh,
is like it's like strongly hint of lemon water.
Well, good for
I'm
you, Alex. Way to one up me like you always do, you freaking jerk. But it's okay. I'm about ready to knock you down a peg. Actually, I'm not going to knock you down a peg. Corporate Zombie's going to knock you down a peg. Last episode, you made fun of me because I didn't know what was the difference between a country and a city over in Asia. I don't know geography, man, and I don't want to know geography. You acted like you knew it all. Just because you had Google at the tip of your fingers, you thought you were God. Listen to this, Corporate Zombie. On last episode, England is actually a country. The United Kingdom is made up of four countries: England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. And then he goes on. But the big thing is, Hong Kong was under British rule. You said United Kingdom is, I think, I forgot what was it. You said, no, you said England. I don't remember what you said, but you were wrong. Corporate Zombie was right. He lives there. He is our expert. I know you're going to argue for yourself. That's bullcrap. He caught you. I didn't because I'm an idiot, but thankfully our listeners aren't. Thank you, Zombie. This bean that Alex has to eat is for you, and I hope it's a barf, and I hope it's nasty.
So I need to clarify a couple things. I am eating this bean in protest. Um, One, Adam, what happened was I was not wrong about the important information. The United Kingdom did have sovereignty over did have sovereignty over Hong Kong. That was the important part. But you said England, and I said England is not a country, and that is where I'm being corrected. I take umbrage with the fact that the UK and Great Britain and all those just get to make up four countries they belong to. I don't say the state I live in is the country I belong to. I say United States is the country I belong to. But they get to be like, oh, I'm English. Well, that's country. Also, I'm British. Well, that's country. Also, I'm UK. Well, that's how many passports do you have? All right. How many passports do you have? And do you get to does it say all three of them on there? I'm not going to argue too much about it. It's just you can't pick and choose, baby. You can't pick and choose.
You are such a sore loser. You always have been, you are now, and you'll probably always will be.
Spin the damn wheel.
You lost. You don't know as much as you think you do. You lied and you were making fun of me for not knowing that Singapore was in China. I don't know. And
Singapore wasn't
you,
in China. That's the point. That's the point. Singapore is not a city in China.
I don't care. England is a country, not a city. You're wrong.
Adam, I think we have more listeners in Singapore than we have in England. You need to respect them.
Dude, I do respect him. I need to, there's a good spin. Bob Saget. Old bandage or pomegranate.
Well,
Sorry,
that's
corporate
not good.
zombie.
I have an old bandage on my finger. Can I just eat that instead?
No, because I have a feeling the bean is gonna be worse. I
This
nibbled
is old bandage or pomegranate, right?
on,
Yeah, it's the only
yeah,
red
yeah,
one.
it's the only dark red one, yeah.
It had some yellow specks on it. I got confused.
Yeah, it's got some light specks on there. Yeah,
All
okay.
right. I'm kind of nervous about it. Old bandage is going to be bad news.
Yeah, I ate one time and it wasn't good. I mean, it's not barf.
Oh!
Yeah.
Oh!
Yeah.
I've
Oh,
never had this
yeah.
one.
Oh, yeah, he went after it. Thank you, corporate zombie. Yes. Please, listeners, I
Mm.
know, go to YouTube, go to contact at playpsvr.com, go to, I don't know, wherever the heck you're listening from. Comment and thank corporate zombie for this moment. Look at that face. Look at that disappointment. Look at that pain. That is what I feel every day when I talk to you, Alex. Yes. Thank you, corporate zombie. I wish I could give you a wow. You're really. I mean, it's not as bad as barf, is it?
It's the thing is, it tastes like clinical, if that makes sense, like a bandage. Um, it also tastes like really bad coffee. And in those, it's not going away. I swallowed it, it's not going away. And those two things combined with the idea that it's an old bandage just like makes it sickening. Like when you taste it, it you it tastes the way an old nasty bandage looks.
Ah, interesting.
That's bad.
Well, that's fantastic. Speaking of, I don't know, there's no transition there. I messed the transition up. We need to talk about Sniper Elite Resistance. We need to get into it. Alex, this is a game. I've never played any of the Sniper Elite games. I've never played what I guess I would call a proper gun game. Like I've played Helldivers, I've played Destiny, but those are like they're obviously gun games, but they're not as technical, right? As like a Sniper Elite game is.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the series or have you played this before?
I know about the series. So this is like Rebellion. So the guys who make Battlezone that we love. This
Hmm.
is like their flagship game. So this is Sniper Elite Resistance. There's not a number on it, but it's like number 7 or 8 in the series. There's a lot of them, and they've never been like amazing titles, right? But this one, for some reason, seemed to be getting a bigger push than the previous ones. I think that's why they called it Resistance instead of putting a 7 behind it. Um, I'd never played them beyond they made a VR one on PSVR, and I played that with the aim controller, and it was freaking awesome. It was really good. Um, but a bit easy in VR. Like you could see how a game about sniping can be really easy in VR. But yeah, this is my first time really playing it. The closest thing I've done to playing Sniper Elite is they have a spin-off series that also has like 4 games to it, called Zombie Army. And I played that on Google Stadia back when Google Stadia was around, and it's almost like the exact same engine, just the mechanics are a bit more simplified, but it has like the X-ray vision sniping, and you're shooting a bunch of zombies. It's like less stealth oriented and more run and gun. And I had a lot of fun with that. So that was like I was looking forward to playing Sniper Elite because of it. But yeah, this is Sniper Elite. I don't know if Rebellion's like a big company and they have different development houses. This is also like helped developed by Wushu Studios or something, but I can't find anything they worked on, so I don't know.
Beats me. So if you are familiar with the series, you at least know normally the main character is a guy named Carl Fairburn. Again, I've never played the games. I've gone through, actually, a guy from GameStop told me this. So I was telling him this first time I was playing the game. Normally, you play as Carl in all of the other games, and Harry Hawker, the guy, the protagonist in Sniper Elite Resistance, is your sidekick, essentially. But now, Carl is stopping some Operation Kraken. I'm assuming that's one of the earlier games. So this is the first game that Harry has of his own. He is the protagonist. You are playing as him, and you're trying to snip out a wonder weapon to prevent the Allies from reclaiming France. Or they're trying to reclaim France with the aid of the French resistance, which is where the resistance in the name comes from. So you're shooting Nazis, fighting Germans, blowing up, chemical weapons, tracking down documents, and a pretty good environment and scenario to surround a game around, right, Alex? Did you find the somewhat historical concept of the game properly used for motivation of the game?
I mean, I think all the games existed in World War II, as far as
Oh,
I know.
really?
Which, if I'm being honest, World War II is kind of well-trodden territory for video games. But I think that's because World War II is like one of the wars where there's just like a clear good guy and a clear bad guy, right? Like you can do whatever you want to a zombie in a video game and nobody's gonna bat an eye. The first person shooter video game of all time, you were shooting Nazis. It was Wolfenstein. So it's like Nazis have become a staple of video game bad guys. And so that makes sense why they keep going to that well. Adam, you skipped over a word that you wrote down here in the description. I just want to hear you say this word. It begins with an L. Try to
Oh,
pronounce it. It's a German word. Please, please, for me,
oh,
please,
I'm not
please.
doing it. Not doing it. It's spelled like Luftwaffe, but I obviously know that's
You were
not.
close. Luftwaffe. Luftwaffe. Yeah, okay.
Oh, I was
Yeah,
close.
you were close.
Blue,
Okay. It just,
blue,
I wouldn't have
blue,
done it.
blueberry waffle.
I wouldn't have done it if you hadn't skipped over it, but you carefully skipped over saying that
Yeah, I
word.
was saying that. So there's a lot of ways we could maybe dissect the game, Alex. But I think the best way to start is I want to know what is your favorite part of the game. So those of you who've never played Sniper Elite, There's a single player campaign, there's multiplayer. We played a lot of the 20% of the game that we've played is based on the single player campaign. There's a plot and a story that again you're helping the resistance, trying to stop Nazis, and then you go into one mission. There's 9 missions total in this game, and they have objectives for you to complete, and shoot Nazis, complete the objectives. Most objectives, there's one you have to kill a certain person, and then the other ones, it depends. It could be burning documentation, finding plans, taking down a power plant, things like that, right? So,
But all the missions are basically go to somewhere and hit X, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
find the documents, hit X. Go to the thing, hit X. So yeah, that's
sure,
a
yeah,
bit yeah.
it is. But so that's a gameplay loop. So now there's so much we could talk about, right? Do we care about the plot? How's the gameplay? How's the shooting? But let's dissect it. What's your favorite part of the game? And we'll go from there.
Yeah, obviously the it's in the names, the sniping. I mean, a lot of video games have sniping, but this one it doesn't take it it doesn't take it over seriously, right? Like I can imagine like a realistic sniping game, one where it's very, very, very slow and you're like sitting for a long time and stuff like that. This doesn't take it that seriously, but there's ample opportunity to snipe enemies. And it
I
feels
mean, like,
good when you do
what
it.
about it do you like? Because, like you said, there are many games that have sniping. I don't have the experience to know, I guess, too much what the other ones do that this one does better. But, like, what specifically about it do you enjoy?
The maps are really big, which means you're sniping at a big distance, which is really satisfying. You have a decent variety of like sniper rifles. Some shoot faster, some like hit harder, some can shoot through cover. Some have better scopes and stuff like that. So that it just the sniping has like a decent amount of variability. You can even adjust like how much fall off there is on the bullet. Although that kind of doesn't matter on the normal mode because you do have like a breath hold button where you stop swaying and time slows down a little bit, and you even get like a little crosshair that appears like where the bullet is going to go. Um, so it takes some of the guesswork out of it, which would be, I bet if you got familiar with the game and you played on hard mode, it'd be really satisfying to play that way. But really, the reason the sniping is good is because they have that X-ray kill cam, where when you get like a good shot on somebody, it'll like go in slow mo, and you watch the bullet, like bullet camera, watch it fly all the way across the map, and you watch it crunch into the enemy, and you watch it blow their brain and fragment their skull and stuff like that. And I don't know, it never really got super old to where I didn't want to see it. I might have like fast forwarded through it, but I was always happy to like have seen it happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think, especially when I got one of those kills that were really far away or it was a tough shot, then it gave you time to relish in that small
Yeah,
victory, right?
yeah.
Rather than just, oh, it's done and you move on. So yeah, I agree. It was really neat in general just to see that. I mean, Mortal Kombat is, I think, the pros of super gory deaths and stuff, right? But this wasn't so over the top that it was ridiculous like that. It was still satisfying, but it was real neat. You're right. When you have a body shot or a lung shot, a brain shot to see how, I wonder how realistic that is.
Mm, So the like I saw complaints about this online and I didn't know that it was this toned down. But like, you do a headshot, right? And it goes in and like say you can do an eye shot. You just see the eye disappear. You don't see it like fly out of their head or anything. And
Yeah.
then the brain is like more underwhelming because it's like you do a headshot in the brain and you just see the like a 3D model of the brain like jiggle, but you don't see like brain matter spray out. You just see like bone fragments and blood. And so it's not that gory, if I'm being honest. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to sound like I need it to be super gory to be satisfying, but part of the reason the sniping works really well is because of that kill cam, that X-ray kill cam. Because when I'm sniping an enemy in any other video game, I'm sniping an enemy just to get them down, right? I'm just trying to kill the bad guy. And if I have to do three shots to the body or a shot to the head or something like that, like it's whatever it takes to get them down and out. But because of the kill cam, it makes me want to hit it in the right spot. Like I hate that Nazi. I want to see the bullet go through his head. Or if you get even really good, you can do like the scrotum shot, and it's like I want to see it hit him in the nuts. I
Yeah.
want to see half of his leg blow off, and but like there's no dismemberment in the game, probably because it make the game hard to get rated, right? But I think that it's a double-edged sword. The kill cam makes the sniping as fun as it is, because if it was just a sniping for sniping's sake, it wouldn't quite be the same. But because they toned down the violence, there's kind of an upper limit to how much it adds to the experience.
Yeah, I think for me, a couple things, I didn't think too much about wanting it to be more realistic, right? I mean, it's a video game. I was perfectly fine with it. It would never be a complaint of mine that, oh, it's not realistic when you shoot someone's brain out. It was relatively recently. I think I even text this to you. I mean, I think it's been within a year, like 12 months. For the first time, I saw the video of JFK getting shot in that car. Dude, wowzers. I mean,
Yeah,
I've never seen someone get shot in the head. Holy crap, that's pretty freaking wild. And I mean, that was grainy videography. It was black and white, and it was still like, oh wow. Like if
yeah,
that were in good graphics, zoomed in, if that's what it looked like when you shot their heads, like I don't know if I would like that, right? So
yeah.
I kind of like that it's not that. And also, I don't know about you. I didn't go through a big thing. Don't get me wrong. I know it's a video game. I didn't have an existential crisis or anything, but there were like a few moments that like I was playing the game and you're just like mercilessly slaughtering people. I mean, in one level, you're killing 50 to 80 people. And again, I know it's a video game, but a couple times I was like, people like actually do this in war. Like this
Yeah.
many people die in war, and it like I don't know. Is a sober moment? Is a somber moment? What's that word?
Sobering. It's sobering.
Sobering. I'm sober. Yeah, and it like almost depressed me a little bit. It's weird. So I think maybe it's a good thing. It's not uber realistic. Did you feel that at all? Or I mean, I feel foolish saying that because obviously it's a video game. I know they're Nazis. Like it's a complex issue. But the did you feel like that at all, or am I just a baby like you are with space?
No, I mean I can appreciate what you're saying. I'm trying to think of if a game has done this to me, and it might just be I've played too many games. Like you said, you're pretty unfamiliar with shooting games, and I've played a lot of shooting games and stuff. I will say that the very first, so like Call of Duty now is almost like it's like a Michael Bay movie for video games. It's like action packed, over the top, shooting bajillion bullets and stuff like that, and it's crazy and stuff. The very first Call of Duty game that came out was actually like a pretty realistic shooting game. And I remember people talking about like, wow, this is like the real side of war. And people talked about it was like a similar effect. Like, this is pretty sobering. Like, I'm shooting, I'm shooting the Nazis and I'm killing a bunch of them. And it's like kind of like, wow, this is really what it was like. Because before that, video games were pretty arcadey and it was like shoot the bad guy, whatever. So I don't think you're alone in that, right? Uh, but it didn't really have that much of effect on me. Probably because of the things like, I shoot the guy in the head and his brain oscillates and I watch the bullet go through it, but it doesn't really dismember it. And I agree with you. I think, I don't necessarily need to see the guy's head explode. Um, I don't necessarily think it would be as bad if you like shot them in the arm and you saw their arm come off if it was a kill shot. Like that seems a bit more like that's a Mortal Kombat type cartoonish humor. And because this game's not like hyper realistic, I think it could maybe lean into the cartooniness of it. Because this game doesn't feel like it's trying to teach you a lesson about war, right? It's not trying to teach you
Yeah.
that like war is bad and war is hell. It's a game about shooting Nazis. But it is interesting that to a degree it had some of that effect on you. I don't know. I'm trying to
Yeah.
think of the last game that did that, and I can't think of one. Maybe
Yeah.
that says more about me than it does about the game.
You're a horrible person.
Yeah,
So I would say my favorite part of the game are the campaigns. So I really liked the like they were fun to go through. Like you said earlier, the maps are big. You have different objectives, and the maps I think are pretty creative. There's a lot of different variety, and yeah, you're doing the same objectives when you replay the map in the mission, but there's multiple ways to get to that endpoint. So you can start at different points within the map to add difficulty or just change it up. You can just take different approaches, right? You could be more stealthy and try to use your gun as low as possible and just sneak around. You could go to a degree kind of Rambo, depending on what difficulty you're on. You could be sniper and go really slow and pick people off one by one. So I liked that variety. And I played, I mean, to be honest, I looked today, I played 12 hours of this game. 20% is hard to gauge because like
Yeah.
it's multiplayer, right? But I did each of the missions twice. So I started on, and when I started, I hated it. Like I'm telling you, I was like, this is a horrible game. But something about it did a good job at making me feel like it was a learning curve. Like some games are difficult and you think like I'm never going to get better. Like this is it's just a bad game, it's not fun and I'm never going to get better. I never felt like that with this. I truly felt like it's an approach thing, it's a skill issue, and if I stay at it, I will get better. And that's what happened. You do have to be in the right mindset to play this, I think. But the replay value after, I played on medium, I died, I kicked it down to easy, and then there was even one of the levels, I think mission three, I kicked it to the easiest difficulty to beat it. And then I just went back like on the second run through and I put it on medium and I finished it without dying. So like you do get better, and I think in the beginning it was just a learning curve on my end, but the replayability of the campaigns I thought was pretty cool. And easily compared to that and the multiplayer stuff, I think the campaigns for me are easily the most fun.
Yeah, I think the campaign, like that's the main way to play. And it by default, the game has 9 missions. And at first when I saw that, I was like, oh, this is gonna be a pretty short game. But then you're right, each level is probably like a good hour, hour and a half the first time you're playing it. And what I didn't realize about this series is that it's almost like a diet Hitman game. I don't think you've ever played the Hitman series, Adam, but those games, the levels aren't huge, but they're complicated and they're dense. And the real goal of the Hitman games is to figure out how to get in, kill your target without getting caught, and get out without being seen and alerting anybody. And to a degree, this game is a lot like that. There's a lot going on in the levels. The levels are really big, and if you're playing on a higher difficulty, then you don't have the luxury of getting caught. And so, really, like you said, the game rewards experimentation. You have different places you can start out, and there's different ways you can, take out enemies. Right? What I always wanted to do is find the highest point in the level and then figure out the guy I'm supposed to hit and then take him out that way. Unfortunately, I I couldn't get to any of those points without setting off the alarms. And then once it's almost like once you do that, you're kind of screwed for the level because like the arrangement of the level gets feels like it gets screwed up, right? If there's a routine that like one of my targets is walking on, if one of the alarms goes off or a firefight breaks out with me and the enemies, then it's like that guy is going to be in a building for the rest of the thing, and like I can't snipe him. Um, but you do see like there's a lot of multiple paths, like ways to get from like where you start to where you need to end up. I play through one way, I'm going through a bunch of buildings. I play through another way, I'm like zip lining from building to building, or I'm going underground and there's like back doors and stuff like that. There's one level where you have to go inside a building and find like documents or something like that. And when I got through it and found it, I realized, oh, there was like 5 ways I could get in here. I could climb the vines in the back door. I could come in through the front door. I could climb up the pipes on the side and then go in a window and then go out another window and climb up another pipe and get in through. And that's cool, but I didn't that stuff wasn't made apparent to me from the get-go. And so the only way I could really figure out how to get in there was to like blast through the front door and then have a firefight. And the game's engine isn't super conducive to like run and gun, understandably. It's a sniping game. Um, so I'd always kind of find myself in a pinch unnecessarily. But I could totally see like, oh, once you understand the layout of the levels, there'd be a satisfaction of like sneaking around, only taking out the guys you need to take out. I mean, there's if you sneak up on a guy, you have the option to not kill them. There are bullets you can get that are non-lethal bullets. So obviously the game has like a mode, like a pseudo-pacifist mode where you don't kill anybody and you don't alert anything. And I think that's probably what you're supposed to do in the game. But especially your first time through, it's real hard to figure out how to do that stuff. But I will say, even when I'm okay with killing the bad guys and setting off a couple alarms, there are interesting mechanics. Like when you shoot a gun and it's loud, the enemies will hear you, and you'll see on your map a little tick mark of like this is where the enemy is going because that's where they heard the gunshot. So you can leave the area that way they don't find you, right? And then even at some point, like if you get into a gunfight and they definitely see you, you'll see a marker on your map of like they saw you there. That's where they think you are. And so if you can get out, they'll like be shooting in that area. There were times where I flanked the enemy. They're like shooting into a bush because that's where I last was when they saw me. And then I can get up on higher ground and then snipe them and pick them all off. So that kind of stuff is fun too. Um, so it's almost like every level is a weird little playground of like sniping Nazis and stuff, which is kind of fun experimentation thing. There's also vehicles running around, and so I could like drop a mine. If I watch where the vehicles, like their route that they're driving on, it was satisfying to like lay down a mine and then go run away. And then later I hear something explode and it killed the car full of Nazis. And so like that's satisfying. Um, but yeah, it does feel a bit to me. Maybe I don't need to get into too much criticism here, but it's like there's a lot going on in the game, and the amount of stuff going on in the game kind of undercuts what the game's wanting you to do and what you're supposed to be doing in the game. To where after you see what it's going for, but you're never kind of pushed in that direction, and it gets hard to do what's going to be most satisfying in the game, at least for me.
Yeah. Would I always wondered, would you rather have 20 shorter levels that are maybe 30, 40 minutes each, or nine levels that are hour and a half each?
I think more levels that are shorter because that's less of an opportunity for me to screw up the run, right?
Mm.
Like that's that's less times where I'm going to be like, oh, I've almost got all the way through it, and then I'm on like 1 hour, 30 minutes into it. I got the last thing, and then somebody sees me, and it's like, well, that perfect run I was doing just got screwed up for good. I mean, there's checkpoints and stuff, but there's nothing quite as satisfying as like slowly infiltrating, taking out your target, and getting back out without being seen. And the levels are so big, the tools you have aren't strong enough. It just seems impossible to do.
Yeah, I agree with smaller for different reasons. I think one time I have done a mission from start to finish in one sitting, but as I'm going to talk next segment a little bit more about, you have to be in the right mindset and you have to want to play a game that's slower like this. And when you're in that mood, this game is great. But if you're not in that mood, like I can take 30, 40 minutes and then I have to stop. Like the game, the strategy is to take it slow. You can't go Rambo. It's not an action game in that sense. And so it
That's that's
having
a
a
good
2 hour long mission is just really long. So almost every mission, I get halfway through and I have to stop and go do something for a couple hours, and maybe I'll come back and finish it, or maybe it'll be the next day. And I would have just liked more missions rather than just nine long ones.
Yeah, I think that's a good point too, because it's what happens is when you're taking it slow, it's pretty enjoyable and it's tense, right? Like you're sneaking around, not getting seen. Um, but the problem is that it's really easy for you to set off the alarm, and now you're having to play Rambo because you're pinned in a house and it's surrounded by Nazis. And then at that point, you feel like you're banging your head against the wall, right? Like I just want to erase my existence right now and get to a point where you guys don't know I'm here. But it's really hard to do that. And even then, it's like what in what setting would a guy kill 20 Nazis and then go hide in a bush and then they just forget that that guy's there, right? Like it just
Yeah,
you feel like you lost and now you're playing a losing game for the rest of the hour and a half of that mission. Um, yeah, we can get into more criticism and talk about. I mean, there's more good things to talk about too, but we'll
for
talk
sure.
about it after the break. Yeah,
Yeah, definitely. I think I played the game for 12 hours, right? That
yeah,
I think in itself, in the first week playing 12 hours of that, I think is a testament to it. It is enjoyable, but I think there are some things, some criticisms that I don't even think they're big criticisms, but things that I don't know. It's interesting. I will say I am glad that we played this for sure. Like I had a good time. I've never played a game like this, right? That's what this
yeah.
podcast is about, man. Playing like games that we would have never played. I would have never ever bought this game otherwise had it not been for this podcast. So it's perfect. I'm super glad I played it. We got a whole segment still to talk. We're gonna dive a little bit more about the multiplayer, talk about our experiences. Alex apparently has a stupid quiz for me. We're gonna deal out a bean, and then ultimately we got to decide: are we gonna finish the single player campaign and keep playing this, or are we picking a new game to play next week? Stick with us till after the break.
Welcome back to segment 2 of Gaming is in Session Sniper Elite Resistance Edition. Part 1? Maybe part 1. Maybe the only part. I don't know. Adam, we last left talking about what we liked about the game. We got a little bit of criticism. Let's get into your complaints of the game, Adam, and maybe I can expound upon them a little bit.
Yeah, so and I feel bad because there's a lot of things that well, actually let's talk about multiplayer first.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
That makes sense. So Alex played on Game Pass, Xbox, which is
Yeah.
nice. You got it for free, right?
Yep.
That's actually, I mean, I've never played Xbox. I'm never going to play Xbox. That's pretty cool. You get I guess you consider this AAA title free day one. Like, that's pretty nice. Like, I
Yeah.
paid was it 60 I think it was $60 for the game. How much is Game Pass a year?
It depends. There's like different tiers, but I think the cheapest one is like $20 a month. Now the the real thing is there was a weird thing that happened a long time ago where you could get like 2 months of Game Pass for like with a code off the back of a Rockstar can. And I went to Sam's and bought like a huge pack of Rockstar energy drinks that had those codes. And I just spent an evening grinding through putting in the codes, and I got like 3 or 4 years of ultimate super mega game pass for like $30. So that's what I'm running off of. Um, so
That's impressive. Normally, they don't let you stack them like that.
they, in the middle of me doing it, they got wise and they tried to put a roadblock. But if I made a new email address every time so I really had to grind, but I was making new email addresses on Gmail to
Oh
get
my
every single
God.
code. But Microsoft didn't care what the code was when you put it in. So they'd be like, we're not going to give you the code unless you have a new email address. So I'd do the new email address, it'd give me the code, but then I'd put it in on the first account. Anyways, um,
Yeah, yeah.
I
That's
gamed the system.
smart.
So yeah. But so I played on Xbox. But Game Pass is also cool because if the game's released on PC, you can play it on PC too. So I played on Xbox, but I also played on like my Steam Deck using GeForce Now to like
Oh,
cloud stream the game to my handheld. And that worked really well too. So I got to see I played the game on like Xbox and it was good. It was like as good as the PlayStation 5 version. But then I got to see what the game was like if you max out all the settings, so like the best graphics, the highest
yeah.
resolution, all the fancy bells and whistles, which honestly this game's not doing too much crazy graphically, so it didn't look that much different. But I wanted to see what it was like. The one thing I didn't try was playing with like mouse and keyboard, which I think might have changed the game a bit because like you can aim a lot better using a mouse than you can with a joystick. Um,
I
but no,
feel
it was
like
pretty.
yeah, I don't like playing on the computer. I don't like the keyboard and mouse controls. I mean, I'm sure
I don't either.
if
Yeah,
you use enough, you get good at it. And you're right. I do think there's a reason all of the best people in these games are playing on a computer. But
yeah.
so, which one would you prefer if you had, let's say, your Steam Deck or Xbox? Which one would you like?
I mean, if I did Steam Deck and streamed through GeForce Now, I wouldn't have any loss of graphics, but I could still play on the screen by like docking my Steam Deck. So, I mean, that was the best. Although the Xbox is just simple, right? I just turn it on and I'm
Yeah.
playing. So it's a tough call. I don't really like the Xbox controller that much. It's something about like the dead zone of the analog sticks isn't great. It's not a bad controller. It's very good general purpose. But then I talked to you while you were playing, and you said like the PS5 controller was like really good for it. Like it did cool stuff. Like I missed the haptic triggers, right? I missed the like very good rumble, and I missed like the noise from the speaker stuff. Like the DualSense is just it. I hate to admit how much of a game changer the DualSense is when it
Yeah.
comes to playing video games.
I think it's vastly underrated. It was the adaptive triggers are so cool. It really made it feel like quote unquote, I felt when I shot the sniper gun, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
that, when you pull R2 and there's that resistance, it feels like you're pushing an actual trigger. Like you got to add the force. That is a game changer. It just makes you feel more in tune with the game, right? And
Yeah.
then you're right, you hear some of the 3D audio type stuff, some of it through the controller, the little pitter patter or the wind or some of the just cool vibrations and movements of the controller when you're holding it. Very neat. So that worked. I'm sure the rest of the game is identical to Xbox though. So really, I
Yeah,
would
yeah.
assume the only differentiator is the controller. I mean, I don't know if that's enough. It probably whichever console you prefer is the one worth playing it on. I don't know if the controller is enough to be like, oh, even if you like Xbox, you should play it on PlayStation. I don't know. But
Well, I do want to say one thing that I really appreciate this game for is crossplay, right? You were on PlayStation 5, I was on Xbox, and it wasn't like stupid easy, but it wasn't hard to get to play together, right? Like we're not even
yeah,
friends in that sense, like of Xbox and PlayStation, but we were able to play games multiplayer and it worked really well.
yeah, I think it's as easy as a game can make it, right?
Yeah.
The only thing, the way that would make it easier is if we could have just sent each other the request rather than having to send and text each other invite codes. But that, in my mind, is a PlayStation Xbox compatibility issue, right? Like they
Yeah.
don't want us to be able to make a game chat together or a system chat or whatever you call it, right?
Yeah. And
That's
most
just
people are
two
using
different.
Discord anyways, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not Rebellion's or the developers' fault. That's just we got two different platforms, right? So
Yeah.
I can't hold them against that. But yeah, it was pretty easy. And there are multiple different multiplayer modes if you're into that thing. So the first one is co-op campaign. So that would be, and we did this. I started a mission. I sent Alex an invite code on his system. He went in, put the invite code in. He got dropped into my mission. We did the mission together. It, at least today, after playing a little bit more of the single player, multiplayer was significantly easier. And
Yeah.
I don't even think it's because there were two of us picking people off. Something with like the AI changed. Like they weren't shooting us. I don't know. It was significantly easier, but it was still fun. Like it was cool to play with you.
Yeah.
Would you rather play with somebody or would you rather just do it alone and make it more difficult? Like, how did you feel?
It's I think what you said, the AI kind of it changes the game dramatically, right? Because when you're playing by yourself, if you make a noise or something, then they start swarming you and you start getting surrounded. And it's
Yeah,
very like you gotta be really careful. When we were playing multiplayer, like I immediately just I didn't care about the sound. I didn't care about being discovered. I was just picking dudes off left and right. And like if they discover me, well, you're probably gonna fire a gun soon too, and then they're gonna get distracted and go after you. So like when we played, it very much was like Rambo. Like it was run and gun. I was blasting dudes, and if I got too much heat, I just knew that they'd probably come running to you, and we could like ambush them while they, which to a degree, like that's kind of a strategy, right? Like you distract them, and I pick them off, and vice versa.
yeah,
Maybe we would have had a different opinion if we like cranked up the difficulty a bit, but I think all that would have done probably is make it like we can take less bullets before we die. Um, but
sure.
I do. I had more fun playing co-op. I mean, games are just more fun playing co-op usually. But it's just a different kind of game. Like it goes from being like a stealth, methodical sniping game to being kind of like a run and gun game where you can snipe really well. So
Yeah. Yeah, it was, I think depending on what you're looking for, I think the co-op was more fun, but the single player is there's a moment and a feeling, an instance where you would prefer single player, right? Like
Yeah.
You don't have to talk to anyone. You're just sitting there slowly going through the level. You're very methodical. Like there's something to be said for that. So there's also survival mode. This is the one mode I actually didn't play. It's because I hate survival modes, but I'm assuming how long can you last against the Nazis, right? And it's just going to
Just
be
wave mode. Yeah.
wave after wave. There's an invasion mode, which I think is really interesting. I am in a mission. Alex joins as the enemy, and he tries to hunt me down along with the enemies, right? While I'm still trying to do the mission. So you can join random people's games, obviously friends' games. This, in theory, I absolutely love, but in practice, the maps are so big, it's really hard to find each other. And it makes the person who is hosting the game like you're trying to do the mission, which is built to be difficult to begin with. And then you are having to deal with the other guy who honestly is better than. So I don't know. I loved the theory, but I didn't love how it ended up. And I don't think it's their fault, right? But like we
Well,
played it, Alex, and I mean it didn't translate well.
there's something with like the balance, right? Like it's really asymmetrical what's happening because you I love the idea. And this is done really well in like Dark Souls and stuff, right? Where somebody can invade and there's like NPC and then the enemies and stuff, but I think it's when you get noticed by the enemies, they start swarming you, and that's a whole like issue you're having to deal with. And then when that happens, it's really easy for you to make yourself visible to the enemy. Like when I invaded you, the only way I could find you was because I just looked for where all the NPC Natsus were running, right? And that made it easier for me to find you. Um, and also because nobody's coming after me, I can kind of run around the level and like I have so many options available to me to try to like set up traps for you and stuff like that. To where I have so much leverage over you. I don't see how somebody could win being in the single player version. I will say when somebody invaded me, it was really cool to have like this extra tension of like there is a dude who I, have to outsmart that's not just an NPC. But like they're just better, like they know the level better than me because they can run around. I have no idea where they're going to be. You get like hints as to where they might be, but I really have no idea where they're going to be. And I don't know, like the situation where this would be fun is very, very small. People have to both be very good at this game, understand the levels really, really well. It's like I have to put 100 hours into this game and then find somebody else randomly who's put 100 hours into the game to make this mode make sense, and it would probably be really, really fun. But like I'm not going to put that much time into it, but it's a really
Yeah.
cool idea. Like maybe if somebody invaded me and then I got to call in backup and there were like three dudes who were also running around fighting Nazis with me, like AI dudes fighting Nazis with me and putting pressure on the other sniper. That might be more fun if it's like my army versus their army and we're trying to outsnipe each other.
Yeah. I mean, I think one thing we didn't get a chance to try, I do think if the host plays the game, I started on medium, right?
Yeah.
But if I crank that all the way down to the easiest difficulty, so there's still the other enemies, but it takes them a lot to kill me, so that there's more forgiving, and then I can focus a little bit more on finding you. The other thing I find very interesting, I don't know if you noticed this when you tried to do it, in public, we played a private match, but in public, there are actually two people who invade you. It's not one on one. So I joined a game where there were two people finding me or attempting to find me.
That would
And
be impossible.
well, so what happened? I mean, I don't know if you want to say unfair or maybe it's good strategy on their part or whatever. I did pretty well. They couldn't kill me, and I found where they were, and they were together. I killed the one guy, but then they set it up so for me to get access to the one guy to kill him, the other dude was set up, so I didn't stand a chance. He sniped me as soon as I killed the first guy, and it's like yeah, there's no way I could win, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. So anyhow, cool theory. I still think it's a theoretically a pretty cool aspect of the game. Team deathmatch or just team match is exactly what it sounds like. Free for all, exactly what it sounds like. So the free for all I tried, it almost forces you to be a little more Rambo, which because everyone's running around and it just felt unfair. Like every time I tried that, which was multiple times, there was always two or three people who were probably on PC and they were just way better than everybody. And so they could run, stop, snipe you literally in like maybe a second and keep going. And
Yeah.
it's like I can't compete with that. And that's why I was afraid was going to happen. And that's essentially what happened. There's squad match, which again, pretty self-explanatory. And then there's a no cross match where we played. It's just two teams. There's a divide that you can't cross, so you can't evade each other, and you're both just sniping each other. But I didn't think that was that fun either. Did you enjoy it at all?
No, and again, I can't figure out what would have made it better, but like the idea of like a bunch of people like getting very tense and like laying down and trying to snipe each other and out each other and stuff like that is a cool idea. But the illusion gets broken when you're looking across the river and you see a dude just running left and right because like it's impossible to snipe somebody when they're doing that. And then they just like stop for a split second and then hit you and then they keep running left and right. Like there's something going on that I'm not getting, or they're playing on PC, or there's cheating, or something like it. Just
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like a tense, sweaty sniping match. It's like okay, well, there's a guy that's just doing weird stuff, and it looks stupid, and I died, and it's
Yeah,
I have no.
I don't, so the multiplayer modes I think are fine. And like I said, my favorite part was the single player campaign. I don't think you need all of these modes. I think co-op campaign, I guess if people like survival mode, keep that one. I'm even fine keeping the invasion mode, and I think you need a free for all. But the others, I don't think the no cross, you don't need that mode. Um, the team match, I guess. Yeah, I guess keep the team match. So I guess yeah, maybe just the no cross mode you really don't need, in my
So
opinion.
I think I can segue this into like our our criticism section is that this is emblematic of I think what my big issue with the game is that this game has a lot of ideas and a lot of things going on, and almost all of them feel half baked. Like every one of these multiplayer modes is a good idea on paper, and it's like, oh, that's I'm glad there's that. That sounds great. And then you do it, and it's like something's missing. And then even the game, right? Like the sniping is good, but it there's not enough. Like in the campaign, there's not enough of it, and there's like you have more success running and gunning sometimes. Like the game wants you to be stealthy, but it's kind of hard to be stealthy. The game doesn't want you to run and gun, but sometimes that's just the fastest way to get things done. And you and I mentioned it too. Like the weapon selection mechanism is atrocious. Changing
Yeah.
weapons is awful. You get like a billion different types of explosives. You get mines, you get shoe mines, you get rat bombs, you get traps, you get all sorts of stuff. And like I it's painful to select those and it's annoying. Like there's weird situations to use them and it doesn't feel fun or satisfying to use them. The only time it felt satisfying was I laid a mine down and I watched the car mindlessly go over it to blow up and it's like, all right. Um, like throwing a grenade. Like it's got good ideas. I love that I could hold down the button, see the arc of a grenade, and that arc turns red if it's going to hit an enemy. So I throw the grenade and it hits the Nazi in the head and it kills him. But like it didn't feel good to throw the grenade. It felt clunky. It felt stiff, and like there's still there's a cover shooter mechanic. Did you know that if you crouch down next to a box, he'll like crouch down behind it, and then when you
Yeah.
aim, he'll pop out and he'll duck back down. That's great, but like again, it's half baked. It was doing it when I didn't want it to do it, and it wasn't doing it when I did want it to do it. There's you can like climb up stuff, which is cool because you want to climb up things to like snipe. There were things that seemed obvious I could climb up, like a mesh net, but I couldn't. It didn't work. But
Yeah.
there's like a grass thing somewhere. I can climb up that. And so like again, there's the game wants you to do so many things, but none of them are good enough to warrant doing beyond just like slowly crawling around and sniping. There's a focus mode that's supposed to help you highlight enemies better so that you can snipe them because like everybody blends in with the background everywhere in these giant maps, but the focus mode isn't strong enough to be worth how slow you have to move to use it. So it's like focus mode is going to help me find the bad guys, but I'm going to find them faster if I just run around and then make a little bit of noise and then go hide somewhere else.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a lot of really good ideas, and almost all of them just feel like not as well executed as they should have been to warrant being in the game.
Yeah. I in some ways agree with you. I definitely think you're more harsh than I am.
Maybe,
I
yeah.
I feel like the amount of sniping is cool. I'm okay with the grenades. I do agree. One of my complaints is to use the teller mines, to use the decoys, to use some of the other items they give you that's intended to add some variety and ways to kill the enemies is just impossible. Like they give you bottles after bottles with the intent that if you throw a bottle, they hear it and they'll go, chase it, and then you can hit them with a mine or shoot them or whatever. It just never works. And I've spent more time and risk myself more trying to get that to work just to say I've done it
Mhm.
than it's actually effective. So it doesn't work. Like just don't have it, right?
Yeah.
Some of my things are the and some of these are just simply the way I play. I don't think it's a fault of the game. When you scope and you look in the scope, you can't move your gun very fast. So, which in real life doesn't make sense. Yeah, you're a little more maybe what's the word? Like, if you're moving your
Disoriented or
scope
yeah.
really fast, yeah, you're disoriented, right? But you can move as fast as you want. But in this game, you can't. So you zoom in, and if the enemy starts running, I can't move my scope fast enough to follow them. So I'll never catch them. So I have to unscope, move my body or move the crosshair, and then scope in again, and I have to like lead him, which like I don't love that. I guess maybe I kind of understand it. I use the camera in a weird way to where if you look straight ahead and your camera is perfectly parallel to the ground and the guy, your character is directly in front of you and you're just looking straight, there's the crosshair that you will shoot at, and that's fine. You scope and you see the crosshair. But with this game, so often there's stuff in your way, right? There's a house, or you're in the grass, or there's barbed wire. So I angle my camera so I could see around the house or over that bag of sand or something. Then I can see where the enemy is. And when I see them, if I immediately hit scope, because I moved my camera, my crosshair is actually like in the dirt, for example. So then it zooms in on the dirt. But I can't keep the camera parallel because then I'm just staring straight into like a bag of sand or a wall. Like I've gotten used to it, but it was a little awkward. And maybe that's just how shooting games are. I don't know how they would fix that, but
No, this is sorry to interrupt, but it's just something else that happened too that was confusing. Like that exact thing. I'm behind like a box, right? And my guy's got his gun aimed, and my crosshair is on the enemy's head, but the line of sight from the barrel of my gun to the enemy is blocked by that box. And I
uh,
don't know it until I pull the trigger, and it like either won't shoot or it shoots into the barrel, but like my crosshair is on the enemy's head. So like I haven't seen this in any other game. It shouldn't be doing that, right? It should take the crosshair away and have my guy like lift his gun or something like that if I can't shoot the gun. And
oh, see, I never saw that. That is weird.
I
Yeah.
would be in gunfights and like I'm crouched, all that's out is like just my gun in my head. And there were times where there wasn't a line of sight, but like the model for the environment was like invisible just above the bag of sand or something like that. And so it wouldn't let me shoot. Like, yeah,
Yeah, that's weird. I also think, I mean, just rolling off, I don't think any of these things are game breaking. And I hate that I have a whole list of critiques, but I feel like any game you play is
yeah,
about
yeah.
going to be like that, right? So, especially a game that's so built on gameplay, but the level up skills I feel like are pretty weak. And I understand some of this is they can't be so good that it's game breaking, right? But
Yeah.
oh, cool. I can hold an extra grenade. Oh, I can hold an extra decoy. Who cares? I don't use them anyhow. Like, that's useless. The only ones I actually felt that were useful is there's one where when you focus and you can hear enemies surrounding you. There's a skill that allows you to hear farther. Okay, that's useful. There's one that gives you more health. That one's useful. And like there's a couple other that are like minimally useful, but not like uber useful. Like, who cares? Like, give me something that I don't know. Give me something that is game breaking. Make it hard to get, but give me something that I don't know. Like, so I didn't love that. And then I feel like this game does have a shelf life. Like, it's fun now. And I've played each level already twice, right? Of the levels that we've played. So I've actually beaten 4 missions, and I've played all of them twice, but I don't know if I would want to play them again. Maybe after a while, I would want to go back and play again, but I feel like this game is going to have a shelf life and limited replayability because there's only 9 missions. How many times do you want to keep playing the 9 missions and the multiplayer isn't good enough to single-handedly want me to keep going into the game? Do you feel similar to that, or what do you feel for replayability here?
I mean, if you really like the gameplay loop, um, then there's replayability because there's variety in the levels, right? How you can approach them. At least it seems like there is. Um, so there's some there, but I'm with you. Like I finished the first level and I didn't really have much desire to do it again. Like the goal is to blow up those cannons, right? And like there's I think there might be two ways to do it, but both ways are kind of like walk up to the cannon and hit a button.
Uh-huh.
Um, and then the way you take out the enemies is like, okay, I can probably complete the mission without killing anybody. Um, but that's not going to be really fun or enjoyable. And yeah, it's I don't know. Didn't have much replayability. You're right. I think there's a shelf life. What this game does feel like is that if I were, if I was 12 years old or 13 years old and I get one game a year and this is the game my parents got me, um, like for Christmas or something like that, like I could probably make this game last a long time and not be upset about it, right? I
Mhm.
could get $60 worth of value in gameplay and have fun. It's just I don't think I'm ever going to hit the high highs. It's just never going to be low where I've like run out of things to do. It's like I'm going to be sitting in a constant like 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10 enjoyment the entire time I'm playing the game, and I could be doing that for a long time. But it's never going to feel. It doesn't seem like it's going to get any better. And the things you're talking about, like the upgrade skills are more or less meaningless, right? Um, there could have been a skill that if you level everything up, then guess what? Now when you zoom in, you get double the zoom in because you close one eye or something like that. And it's like, oh, I want that. I want to double the amount that I can zoom in my scope. Like that would have been cool. Or you now move 1.5 times faster when you move the gun while you're aiming. Or there's like a little bit of lock on to the enemy, so you're not having to chase the enemy as much, and you just aim within that area. Like stuff like that would have been cool, but nothing was really helping you out to a degree. It's like, ooh, I better get that. There were like weapon upgrades you can get slowly. You get
Yeah.
weapon upgrades so slow to where I didn't care, and they were metered out to where it's like you it's a sniping game. Most of the shots I'd make are like one hit shots. It kills the guy, hits him in the head. I don't need a gun that does more damage. I do all the
Yeah.
damage I need to do with the first bullet. So when the upgrade you give me is like a bigger muzzle that does twice as much damage as the previous one, who gives a crap? I'm
Good.
shooting them all in the head. So like what I don't get what the point is in that. Like a silencer is nice that I'm not making as much noise. So it's yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I do, but I think maybe at this point it's good for a break. It's time for a break, Alex. I don't know about you. Get ready, because it's another Jim Girl update. It's Alex's favorite part of the week. Now this is a minor Jim Girl update, but I almost had an earth shattering thing. So do you remember when I told you about what did I call it? The reverse leave behind, where I was gonna leave my water bottle somewhere, walk away, and then she would be like, "Hey." So it almost happened, but the reverse. So I was on the stair climber. She came, and I didn't make it where I'm not like staring at her or anything like that. I just know she came behind and she was in the treadmill two over. So whatever, we did our thing. She left. I got off the treadmill, stairmaster, whatever it's called. I saw a water jug on the treadmill. I was like, she left it. She left it on purpose. She did the reverse leave behind. I couldn't believe it. So I didn't grab the jug, but I went over to her because at that point she was fully fledged in her little workout. But I was like, I gotta ask her, right? Is that your water jug, right? It wasn't. It wasn't her water jug, but she appreciated me going asking. And again, remember, I'm that worm, Alex. There's no worms don't make big movements, little squirmies. And I squirmed myself a little closer to that orifice. That's the Gym Girl update. Thought you would like it, but really, when I saw the jug, I was like, oh my gosh, she did the reverse left behind, but unfortunately not. But
Is it the
again,
same girl as last time?
yeah, yeah.
I just love the picture of you walking up. Is this your water bottle? No, that's not my water bottle.
No, no, no. I went to her. I was like, "Oh, hey, I noticed you're on treadmill and there's water there. Was that yours?" And she was like, "Oh, no, no. I just like that treadmill. The water was already there," which is kind of a weird answer. What? There's a million treadmills. You like that? What?
She
And
wanted to be next to you.
but there was another treadmill in between us, so she could have
She didn't.
gotten.
She didn't. She didn't want to be obvious.
That could be. That could be. I don't know. But it was a weird answer. Maybe you have something. Maybe you have something there, Alex. Either way, again, just a little squirmy worm.
Let
Getting
me
close.
let me give the worm some confidence. If you were a creepy dude that put her off, she would not have picked the treadmill one away from you. And if she was into you, she wouldn't have picked the treadmill next to you because she wouldn't want you to see her all sweaty and stuff.
Dude, she didn't even rush. I mean, she was on there for like 5 minutes. I think it was just a warm-up jog. She wasn't getting
She's
sweaty
she's
anyhow.
probably trying to check you out.
Oh, could be. I'm
Next
not.
time it happens, you gotta pop that shirt off.
I like the stair climber because you're above everybody. So I feel like, I'm the Fuhrer and I'm looking around and I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. That's where you should have used. So anyhow,
I
that's
know,
a Gym
South
Girl
Park's,
update.
yeah.
Alex, we got to make a decision here. Either we shorten the discussion and we finish it up, or we go slightly into a third segment and we do your quiz. What are you feeling?
We don't have much more to say about the game, so let's do the quiz real quick, and then we give our verdict on the game. Okay?
I don't think we're going to do that in 8 minutes, but let's try.
All right. Here's my quiz. It's World War II oriented, Adam. All right.
Screwed. I'm
You
screwed.
ready?
Yeah, bring it on.
You know the rules. You get three
There's
right, I
no
eat a
way
bean.
we're doing this in 8 minutes and eating a bean. We'll do it, but let's do the quiz now. And then
Okay. All right.
yeah.
All right. Question one. Name three of the Axis countries. War II.
F off, dude. Like F you. So Axis were the bad guys, right?
Oh no. Did my
So
internet go out?
no, you're still with us. You're still with us. The so Axis Germany is bad. Japan was bad. They bombed us, right? So they've got to be bad. And then mother effer, who was with Germany? Like France wasn't based on this game. Obviously, America rocks.
So my internet went out, but you said two countries so far. What were they?
I said Germany and Japan.
Okay. And then you just got to do one more.
Um, I can't even think of another country, dude. Oh, Russia is never good, right? Like Russians, I don't think they've been good ever. But were they even involved? I don't know. I don't think they were even involved. Who did? Oh, come on. I remember this for quick recall, an academic team in fifth grade, but it's just been so long. Bob Saget, dude.
You were literally on a team dedicated to these kind of quizzes.
Yeah, and this is forever ago, 20 years ago. Come on. Who liked Germany?
Who would like to
Frick.
German?
I can't. I don't know, and I don't want to waste time. Russia, I know it's wrong.
Uh, it was Germany. So there's probably a handful of
Wait,
countries.
is the
I'll just say
Soviet
name the.
Union, is that a different thing? Because they were bad, but are they a different thing? They're not a country, right?
Let's we're gonna save this discussion for the next question, but um, three major countries. There's probably more. I'm forgetting. Three major countries on the Axis side are Germany,
Mm-hmm.
Japan, and
Yep.
Italy.
Mother, stupid pizza loving pieces of crap. Dang it. So okay,
All
so what's the
right.
question about Soviet Union? Is it a country? Is that what you're gonna ask? Because if
Well,
so,
I'll
I'm
just tell you,
screwed.
Russia did not exist as a country until at like the 90s,
They were
or
part of
until the late.
Italy, right?
No, no.
Frick.
The Soviet Union was the country that you know as Russia now.
And
Um,
so they were bad.
Adam, name three of the Allied countries except for America in World War
There
II.
is no, oh, except for America, that's bullcrap. Here's the thing. There's no way the Soviet Union was good, right? There's no so France, right?
I'll give you France.
Oh, what you want me to say the UK? I'm not saying that.
No. So the issue with France is that they before World War II, like America got underway in World War II, France was invaded and taken over by Germany. So it was like
Yeah, they were the good guys. That's why we went ham on them, right? So
France didn't have like a government at the time. I don't think. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's like they were.
corporate zombie hit us up.
Yeah,
I can't
corporate
believe
zombie. Let us know
corporate
if
zombie
France
hit
is.
us up. Okay, okay.
So
I'm gonna
I'll
say
give you France. I'll give you France.
France, England,
I'll give you
and
England, UK, whatever. Yeah.
Canada.
All right. Yeah.
Are you
I
serious?
mean, yeah.
Yes.
I
I-
didn't I didn't think you would have picked up Canada, but yes, Canada. There's also Australia. There is also China. Um, and then there is, the Soviet Union. We were allies in World War II.
What? I thought they were
Yeah.
bad guys. Okay, okay. We gotta move
Yeah.
it. Let's go. Let's go.
This is more in your wheelhouse. In the 1936 Olympics leading up to World War II, so Hitler was in full swing. Which American embarrassed the Nazis in the running competitions, destroying the idea of the Aryan racist supremacy?
Are you kidding me? How am I gonna know this? Bruce Jenner.
He's still alive, Adam.
The woman?
Who won the gold medal in like running in the 1936 Olympics?
I don't know. How am I gonna? I only know the reason. Tyson Gay, but he's alive too. I don't know these effing old people. Your grandma. I
Jesse
don't know.
Jesse Owens. He's like one of the most legendary. He's an African American. So think about this. Nazi Germany talking about the superiority of their white race, and a black dude goes over there and runs all over him and wins a gold medal in the Olympics that the Nazis were hosting. That's incredible.
But
Okay,
it's
you got that one wrong.
running. I mean, get an Ethiopian dude. I mean, I'm not being stereotypical here, but they win every marathon. They're beasts, right? So okay,
But if
whatever.
if your whole ideology is based on the supremacy of a race, and you get stomped by the race that you're deeming not as supreme as you in an athletic competition, it's anyways. Um, okay, so you got that one wrong. You got the Axis one wrong. We're close. This is down to the wire. Adam,
Yeah.
in World War II, the deadliest sniper from Finland, Simo Haya, White Death is his name, had approximately how many confirmed kills? Now I'm going to give you a wide net here. This is a sniper, deadliest sniper maybe in history. I'm going to give you a window of plus or minus 50. How
That,
many?
that could be any. That's such an unfair question,
You
dude.
have
That's
to be with.
impossible.
No, you have to be within 100. You have to be within 100 to get this right.
Dude, I don't know if it's okay. I know it's not 10,000. 5,000 seems too high. It could be 1,000. It's a whole freaking war. He's sniping people. I, his name was White Death. So it's gotta be. This is such an F you, Alex. This is so unfair. I'm gonna say 573.
The answer is over 500, so that you
Oh,
nailed it. You nailed it.
yeah, made it up. Completely made
Yeah.
up. Yeah,
So
yes.
dude killed. Now this is weird because he's Finland, so they were fighting against Russia. Because even though Russia was on our side, they were invading Finland. He killed over 500 people. He sniped over 500 Russian soldiers, and then he lived. He lived to be 96. Just
That's
that's
insane.
insane. That's
What
insane.
What's
That's more people
also
than
insane is that we're going down to the wire. We're gonna go to segment three. It's the deciding question. Am I gonna eat a bean, or are the Allied powers succeed and Alex has to eat another bandaged pomegranate bean? Stay tuned to find out. Who knows? Who knows?
Welcome to segment three. A short segment. We got to figure out if Adam's eating a bean or not. We're 2-2. Adam's gotten two right. He's gotten two wrong. If he gets it right, I have to eat a bean. If he gets it wrong, he has to eat a bean. The game we're discussing is Sniper Elite, so it only makes sense that this last question should be. The term sniper has its origins in British India. What is a snipe? Now, it's a multiple choice question, Adam. All right? What is a snipe? A cat? A wild dog, a bird, or a monkey?
Is there another answer?
Those are the four options.
Can I say E, nothing? Because people used to go snipe hunting. Like when I was a kid, it was a trick. They're like, "Oh, we're looking for a snipe," and then it never existed. Like it was a prank. Or is that skeet? No, it's not skeet. Skeet is like you shoot skeet, right? Shooting skeet, baby. Uh, I'm certain. Look it up. Snipe hunting. It is a joke. So it's not any of those things. But okay, so supposedly you're saying there is. You said monkey, dog, cat, and what?
Let me pull it up again. You went on your. I had to double check that snipe actually exists, and it does. A cat, a wild dog, a bird, a monkey.
First of all, I'm calling bullcrap. I still don't think this exists. The obvious answer is bird, but I don't think you would ask that. It's too simple. Obviously, the act of sniping takes precision and quickness, and the animal or whatever is far away. You need to hide. You can't go Rambo against it. So obviously, it feels like the obvious answer is bird, but I think you're smarter than that. I don't think you would give me a toss up like that. So I am eliminating bird. Cat, dog, or monkey? I like the idea that monkeys are in trees. You can't combat them, right? It's not like a dog. He's not climbing a tree. You could run after a dog and beat him senseless. So I'm going to take dog off the. I could be wrong, but I'm going to take dog off. So it's between cat and monkey. It is interesting. You said a wild cat.
No, I said
You
a
had.
wild. I said the option was wild dog.
Okay, then you're stupid. Okay, dog's not the answer. So is it monkey or cat? Um, I think playing into the fact that it's a practical joke as a child, if you're correct and it actually is a thing, I don't think they would play off a cat. Like they would say, I think it's a monkey. That's my final answer. Monkey.
Let me just look up. I typed in Wikipedia the word snipe. A snipe is any of about 26 wading bird species and three genera of the family Scolopacidae. They're characterized by a very long, slender bill, eyes placed high on the head, and cryptic camouflaging plumage. A snipe's a long-billed bird known for its swift and erratic flight patterns, as well as its ability to camouflage itself. A person who could expertly find and shoot these birds became known as snipers.
Well, got bad news, buddy. You need to do better research. I'm not saying you're wrong. Sniper monkey. That's a thing. Looked it up.
The term sniper, I mean, we can look up the etymology of the word sniper.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Here, this is, let me read.
The word sniper comes from the verb to snipe, which originated in the 1770s among British soldiers in India. The term was used to describe soldiers who were killed at or who were skilled at shooting the snipe, a small, fast-flying bird that was difficult to hit.
The sniper monkey typically wears a green camo beret and the sniper rifle. There is a sniper monkey. Do you want to spin it? Do you want to spin it, douche?
Yeah, I got
I
a
mean,
spinner. I got a
I was
spinner.
right, right? It made sense it was a bird, but I really didn't think you would make it that easy.
I was trying to make easy question. You got top banana or wet dog? Adam, do you want to know what question I did have for number five? And I just want to know what your answer is.
What do you mean? That was number five, wasn't it?
I had a backup question in case that seemed too mean. That wasn't too mean. That was a good one. Um,
This is
which
this
continent was not involved in World War II?
What dog?
That's a wet dog.
That's what I mean. It's it's not good. It's it's not old bandage or barf though. Like it's not that, but it's not good. Um, yeah. Okay, sorry. I went in the wet dog mode. What was the question?
The bonus question is which continent was not involved in World War II?
Obvious answer is Antarctica, so I'm taking that off. Antarctica was involved. Australia, you've already told me was involved. Obviously, Europe was. Obviously, North America was. Oof, 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 oof. South America. Could they have been not involved? Obviously, Asia was. Oh, dang. So it's Antarctica or South America. Man, I feel like Antarctica shouldn't be involved, right? But again, I think you're trying to trick me. Or you're trying to be nice and ask questions that are actually realistic that I might know them. It could go either way. I'm going to say Antarctica.
The answer is Antarctica, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, that bomb was so close to South America, right? I mean, not like uber close, but like surely somehow they would want somewhat involved. Dang it! Why didn't you ask me that one, Alex? We
I thought it was gonna be too easy. I thought it was gonna be although I'm learning something. I think South America might not have actually I don't think there was any combat in South America. There might have been something in like the Falkland Islands or something like
I
that. So
mean, you
it's a
didn't
bit
say combat, you just said involved. So,
there were camps built in Antarctica, but they didn't meet. So Germany made a camp in Antarctica and so did
oh, so they
Britain.
were involved. So that was you were wrong. You need to specify better. Either way, okay.
Really, I was hoping that your geography was so bad you didn't know Antarctica was a continent. That's what I was
Oh yeah,
hoping.
no, I'm
Yeah.
not that stupid. I'm stupid, but I'm not that stupid.
What's the capital of Antarctica, Adam?
Doesn't have one.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because it's not a country. It's
Yeah, yeah,
a
yeah.
continent. Suck it, Alex. F you. All right. So the only question left is this game. Very quickly, I think we covered it. It got a 75 in Metacritic, so not like uber great. I was actually surprised to see how I mean, obviously 75 isn't bad, but it's not like great, right? I was surprised to see that people didn't like this because I actually personally did like it. Obviously, it's not perfect. It has some issues. I think there are, at some point, it's not going to be fun to replay, but I thought it was pretty good. Interesting, other people didn't see it that way, but maybe if you've played all the Sniper Elites, this is just the same thing. Like they didn't do anything revolutionary. But that doesn't matter. What matters is do we want to play it? Are we going to finish the game? Are we going to finish the single player campaign? Um, I'm I'm going to let you go first. Normally I spill the beans, but I'm going to let you go first.
The 70 something feels right on the nose for what I think this game should be. And I think the Metacritic score reflects the fact that this is like the seventh or sixth iteration of this game. And the game feels very much like a game from like the PlayStation 3 era. Um, just like mechanically and stuff like that. Like Hitman is a better Hitman game than this, and this feels like it's trying to be a Hitman game. And then like a game like Metal Gear Solid on PlayStation 2 has better stealth, and that has just as good as sniping in some situations than this game. Though this game isn't bad by any means, there's not enough meat on the bones for me to want to keep playing if given the option to play something else. But I guess all that being said, I can't see this game doing anything in campaign mission 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9 that makes me turn around and be like, okay, no, that it wins, it wins. And like you said, I don't feel compelled to replay the missions. So I'm gonna say I'm done. I don't need to do anymore. The multiplayer is not great. Um, the gameplay is good. It's just not good enough to make me want to keep going. And I didn't plunk down $60 to try to get. I don't have any like investment I'm trying to recoup or anything like that. So yeah, I'm gonna say I'm happy to leave it.
And what's great about this podcast, it only takes one person to vote in favor, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
my thought, there's a caveat here. I think that we should not continue to play it for the podcast. The caveat is if you're interested, I am going to finish the game. I am going to finish the campaign missions. My main motivation in not continuing is more on the fact that I agree with you. I don't think the game is going to do anything else. So if we had another podcast where we covered the rest of the game, we have nothing else to say. Like there's nothing else to say about the game. So like I don't want to spend a whole week talking about it. You're right. We got a game backlog. I got more time than you. I did pay for it. So I've already put 12 hours in, right? I mean,
yeah.
after the 9 campaign, I feel like I will resell it. I will get $40 back, and if I spent 20 hours for $20 for 20 hours of gameplay, I'm pretty freaking happy with that. And I had a good time, a good introduction into maybe this genre of game. I am happy. I am a better man for I have played Sniper Elite Resistance. So if you're on the fence, I'm not saying don't play it, but for this podcast, I think we need to move on. There's games that need played, and you have a couple of them for us that you're going to graciously let me pick between the two, huh?
Yeah, well, I want to say one last good thing about Sniper Elite because we played it. Um, I think I think it's special if a game causes you to have some kind of serious reflection. Didn't do anything for me, but I do think we need to give credit to this game for making you realize the horrors of war in a way that maybe you hadn't before. Maybe I'm reaching too far, but the fact that like at some point in
Yeah.
the game you were like, man, this really happened to people. Somebody like people were really like taking, and then we talked about the Simo Haya guy killing 500 people like that. The fact that it had some kind of effect on you on that, hey, I think kudos to them that was able to happen.
I
Um,
mean, it wasn't a Near Automata or a Kingdom Hearts, or
no,
it
but
wasn't one of
listen,
those, right? But
I'm
like,
celebrating the best thing I can celebrate about the game. I don't think the game's worth $60. I think if this is a great game to get if it's like $30 or cheaper, I think you're going to get good amount of content. You won't have a bad time. So yeah, I don't want people to think this is a bad game by any means. Also, Adam, we this is the same kind of reason I didn't want to keep going with Behemoth, right? There's not much more to say.
yeah,
Um, I want to finish Behemoth. I haven't, but I want to. But there's just not much more to say about it. Like we got other things we could be doing. Adam, I'm giving you a choice between the next two games. Now, you told me that I had to come with the prices. Um, both both of these games are Game of the Year contenders for last year.
well,
Um,
you keep going back, man. I want to play new games.
there's nothing big new coming out in the next month. I looked.
It's all perspective, but okay.
There's nothing new coming out in the next month or so.
Did you see
But
that I put out a video on YouTube about when's it coming out? Very soon, and it's a pixelated 2D platformer shooter thing, and a bunch of boobs, just
I,
pixelated boobs.
I didn't see that. What is that game?
Exactly, but no. Tell me your two options.
No,
Let's.
now if I can get Adam to play that game, maybe that's what I want to do.
Oh my, come on, man.
You brought it up. You just threw a thing. Yeah, wait till February. Tell me in February. I'm gonna watch this video to figure out what we're doing here. Adam,
Here,
none of these games are heavy hitters, all right?
I mean, yeah, yeah. This is definitely going to be an indie game.
Oh,
Here, I'll pull it up. I've got to see. Release schedule, February 2025. Where's the game? I mean, there's a couple of these, I
You
think.
got boobs all over the thumbnail. What is this game? Is Monster Hunter Wilds coming out in February 2025? Is
It got pushed back. I think it's in March now. Um, so the thing, oh, Moons of Darsalon, February 6th. So it's a couple days old.
I'm not playing Moons of Darsalon. Who do you think I
I mean, it looks like it could be a fun little game.
am?
It's actually one I would have maybe chosen. I mean, it's really funny if you watch the trailer because it's like this gameplay that's pixelated and kind of cool looking, simple, but then they just keep throwing up pictures of ladies and boobs. Like it's really weird. I don't know what's going on, but obviously it's indie. That's fine. Okay, you don't want to play
So
Star Salon. What
So
do you
there's
play?
there's big games coming out in February, but they're coming out later in February. I mean, namely Ninja 5 comes out, but it's like at the end of February. I want to play Ninja 5 again real bad. Also Avowed, but that's Xbox. You don't have Xbox. We can't play
I
Avowed.
ain't playing that.
So yeah, that's why I want to look back. Adam, the prices for these, one of them is about 50 bucks. I'm looking on eBay how much you can get it for used right now. About 50 bucks. The other one about 55 bucks. So not a huge price difference between the two.
Oh
Okay?
my gosh. Come on, man.
The
At
how
least you're getting a game that I can resell. That's the big
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
not the price, it's the resellability. So okay,
There's a
I won't consider that that shouldn't matter. So
okay.
who cares? Who cares
And then the
about
how long to beat for these, one game, just the main story, how long to beat is about 10 hours. The other one, the main story, how long to beat was about 37 hours for the main story. So just
that shouldn't really matter. We're only playing 20% first,
okay,
right? And
yeah.
if I like it, I'm gonna want to finish it. So that I don't really care about that.
All right. Well, then the two games at your disposal to choose from is either Space Marine 2, Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2, or Black Myth Wukong. Both games nominated for Game of the Year last year. Black Myth Wukong is slightly more expensive, and it's about a 40-hour campaign. Space Marine 2, slightly cheaper, about a 10-hour campaign, and there's multiplayer, co-op.
The I've seen things of Blacksmith Wukong or whatever his name is,
Blacksmith Wukong.
and I don't know. I know some people like it. It just
So
doesn't look like my thing. But I don't know what Space Marine is. It just going to be another Helldivers clone?
it's not a Helldivers clone, but you're shooting guys. It's shooting
Is
stuff.
it going to feel like Helldivers?
I don't know. I've not played it.
Yeah, but have you seen the trailer?
Yeah, but just because a game might look similar doesn't mean it's going to feel similar. It doesn't mean it's going to play similar.
But it's a 2D or a 3D shooter. You're walking around not first person.
Yeah. It's a third-person shooter. It's not going to feel like Sniper Elite. Black Myth Wukong came as a pseudo personal recommendation from Shafe and that guy's Will.
Okay, well that cements it. We're playing Deep Space Marine Man or whatever the F
Deep
it's
Space
called.
Marine 2. Okay.
Deep Space Marine too. So before, is there a single player campaign? Like, is there a plot?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Obviously, in Blacksmith there is, but how about Deep Space?
Space Marine 2.
Mother effer!
There is a plot. There's a single player campaign. You just so happen can play it multiplayer co-op if you want. Kind of like Sniper Elite.
Uh,
The completionist version of Space Marine says like 69 hours to beat everything. And the completionist of Black Myth Wukong is 67 hours. So I think there's a lot of content in Space Marine if you
I
want to go
think you just
further.
called it Blacksmith.
You probably
Yeah, I
bled into
got a
me.
Blacksmith Wukong. Um, I guess we'll try Blacksmith Wukong. I
Oh,
mean,
okay.
they suggested it. It's a little longer. It is. I don't. I just a game like Helldivers. I just don't think I'm ever gonna like those. Like they're not fun. They're not bad, but they're not fun. We just got over some sniping, shooting. I want to try something different. Blacksmith has like a weird fantasy vibe thing to it. So let's do some Blacksmith Wukong, baby.
I'm so excited because do you know what this game is? Like what the deal with this game? We cemented it. It's Blacksmith Wukong is the game we're playing.
Yeah.
Do you know like the main thing about this game?
He looks like a wolf cat. That's all I know.
So he's a monkey. It's a retelling of one of the most famous Japanese or not Japanese, one of the most famous Chinese mythologies. So we're going back to Asia, Adam, which means your quiz next
No,
next
that's the
time.
whole reason you want to do this. You know, rather than play the game, I'm going to just read up on China, Japan, Singapore, Taiwan. I'm just going to do history lessons. F this. Son of a gun. Well, you guys heard it here first. Maybe you've already played Blacksmith Wukong. Maybe you haven't. If you haven't and you're interested, play it along with us. We're going to be playing 20% of the game. So, what is that? How long do you want to play, Alex?
About 8 to 10 hours, something like that. Yeah.
Gosh, can we do that in 1 week? Because
Yeah,
I
why
gotta
not?
get the game, and then maybe I can stop by GameStop and buy it. Anyhow, that will be the next game we do on the podcast. But that's it for this episode of Gaming is in Session. You should have known, just like Stalin, that Sniper Elite Resistance, we weren't gonna follow it because there were red flags everywhere. And get it? Do you get it?
I think you kind of got it. Yeah.
What is Nazi flags? They're red. That's the point. Red
Stalin
flags.
wasn't a Nazi. Stalin was an ally.
Are you kidding me? Dang it! Subscribe to our YouTube and our podcast. We're on iTunes. We're on iHeartRadio. We're on Spotify. We're on more. Please subscribe. Tell your auntie, your mama. Thanks for the comments. Thanks for the love, the constant attention that you rain down upon us. Remember to play Blacksmith Wukong if you're interested. We're going to discuss it as I suggested next week. And as for Sniper Elite Resistance, you have heard our verdict. And if you don't like it,
You can tell it to the judges.